I stopped counting the days. I don't even know if they were days. No hunger, no thirst, no sleep. Just me and the bridge. I tore it apart. At first, it was methodical, searching for any access panel, any vent, any weakness in the walls. Then it became destruction. The console shattered under my fists. Screens cracked, wiring spilled out like guts. I ripped up floor panels, crawled into the substructure, rewired systems blindly, desperately. Nothing worked. No doors, no exits, just the bridge and the void outside. I was a rat in a sealed cage. Then Holloway came back. I knew it was him before I saw him. A pressure filled the air, thick as molasses. The shadows along the walls deepened, stretching like oil slicks. Then he was there, a figure at the edge of my vision, just standing, watching. I whirled, chest heaving. "You!" I snarled. It didn't move. I grabbed a shattered panel, hurled it at the thing's head. The metal passed through like it wasn't there. It clattered across the floor behind it. I took a step forward. "Kill me," I spat. "Or let me go." Nothing. My rage broke loose. I started throwing everything. Pieces of console, floor grating, my own goddamn boots, anything I could get my hands on. "Do it!" I roared. "End this! Kill me, you coward!" Still nothing. Then it moved. Slowly. Deliberately. The shifting dark peeled away, folding back into the shape of a man. Holloway, perfectly formed. Uniform unruffled. Hands clasped behind his back, like he was expecting me. He smiled.
"This isn't the first time, Crowe."
The breath caught in my throat. Holloway stepped closer, like a teacher addressing a student.
"You always last the longest,"
He continued, voice light.
"but this is the longest yet."
My skin crawled. I took a shaky step back. "What the hell are you talking about?" His smile widened.
"Every time we play this game, you make it the farthest. The others?"
He made a flicking gesture, like brushing dust from his sleeve.
"They go fast, they break fast, but you...
His eyes shone like wet obsidian.
you fight."
The blood in my veins turned to ice. "No," I whispered. Holloway just chuckled.
"Yes."
I shook my head, stumbling back against the ruined console. He took another step forward.
"You're getting stronger."
He mused.
"The first time you barely lasted a day. Now look at you."
My stomach lurched. I tried to remember, tried to force the memories of how I got here. But there was nothing before the ship. Nothing before the red wake. The horror poured in all at once, thick and suffocating. This wasn't the first time. A hand touched my shoulder. I jerked back, but there was nothing there. Holloway grinned.
"You're starting to remember, aren't you?"
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. This wasn't the first time. Holloway leaned in slightly, studying me like a painter admiring his own work.
"I can see it now."
He murmured.
"That moment. The realization. It always hits you the same way."
I forced my lips to move. How many times? His smile grew wider.
"Oh, Crowe.
His tone was almost fond.
You want numbers? Hundreds, maybe more."
The room tilted. I reached out, bracing myself against the console. Hundreds. I swallowed bile, my throat dry as dust.
"And the others?"
Holloway tilted his head like he was recalling fond memories.
"Well, Murphy's deaths are always entertaining,"
He mused.
"He never makes it as far as you. Sometimes he puts a bullet in his own head after the first hallucinations. Other times, you do it for him. This time was interesting. I really do wonder who he thought was knocking at the door. This is also the longest he made it as well.
My stomach lurched. Holloway chuckled.
There was one time, oh, you'll love this, when Murphy tried to cut his way out through the hole. Managed to get an entire panel loose before the vacuum ripped him apart. You should have seen it. Oh wait, you did see it. His eyes went first.
I squeezed my own shut, but the image was already there.
And Patel?
Holloway continued.
Poor Patel. You know, he's never made it past the med deck.
He clicked his tongue.
Once he bled out slow, staring at his insides spilling onto the floor. Another time, you shot him in the gut. Thought he was the enemy. He forgave you before he died.
I pressed my palms against my skull. Stop. Stop. Stop.
And then that's you.
Holloway whispered. I froze. The air seemed to thin, the temperature dropping. Holloway's grin was razor sharp.
You die in the most spectacular ways, Crowe.
I shook my head. No.
Oh yes.
He purred.
In so many ways.
He began counting on his fingers.
You've starved to death before, did you know that? Took weeks, but you felt every second. Another time you got clever, held your breath, tried to space yourself before we could stop you. Admirable, really.
I stumbled back, but the room felt smaller now, pressing in from all sides. Holloway followed.
There was a time you snapped your own neck. That one was quick.
He wagged a finger.
But then there was the time you clawed at your own throat, kept whispering about things in your skin. Oh, Crowe, you were crying so much.
My chest heaved. No. Holloway's expression softened.
And now, you've survived longer than ever before.
He stopped inches from me, voice dropping to a whisper.
Doesn't that make you wonder?
My breath came in short gasps. My ears rang. I had died. I had died hundreds of times, and I was still here. Holloway watched me carefully, eyes gleaming in the dim light.
I know what you're thinking,
he murmured.
Why? Why you?
I squeezed my fists, nails biting into my palms. Because I'm stronger. Because I fight. Because I last the longest. Holloway's lips curled.
Wrong.
I flinched. His voice dropped lower.
You don't survive because you fight.
He leaned in, his breath ice cold.
You survive because we let you.
The horror crashed over me, a wave of suffocating realization. This wasn't strength. This was deliberate. Something kept me here. Something wanted me to last, and whatever it was watching. I laughed. A broken, shattered sound, echoing through the empty bridge. Holloway just watched me, arms crossed, waiting. I don't give a damn how many times you've done this, I said, voice raw. I don't care how many times I've died. This is the last time. Holloway tilted his head, that perpetual smirk still plastered on his face.
And what makes you think that?
I clenched my fists. Because I'm stronger than you think. Before he could respond, I lunged. I drove my shoulder into him, shoving him backward, sending us both crashing into the console, my hands wrapped around his throat, squeezing with everything I had.
Yes.
He didn't fight back. He just stared at me, that smirk never faltering.
You may finally be getting it,
he whispered. The ship rumbled. The lights flickered. Then the air rushed out. My ears popped, my lungs compressed, and suddenly I was weightless. The bridge ripped apart, seams splitting as the walls peeled away, and in an instant, I was sucked into the void. At first, there was nothing but chaos. My body tumbling, limbs flailing, mind screaming. Then silence. Real, true silence. No sound, no air. Just me, alone, in the abyss. I twisted, gasping for a breath I couldn't take, panic clawing at my brain. My blood boiled in my veins, every nerve ending shrieking as my body tried to understand what was happening. Pain. Cold, sharp pain sinking into my bones, and yet a stillness. I was floating, weightless, spinning. Above me, the ship loomed, its twisted corridors and shattered hull, a black silhouette against the backdrop of dying stars. Beyond it, a writhing mass. The thing we saw on the view screen in the med deck. Below me, the black hole, a yawning, endless maw, stretching wider than thought, swallowing the very light around it. It called to me, not with words, not with sound, with inevitability. I drifted, my body limp, the edges of my vision swimming with black dots. The pain faded. The panic dulled. I had lost. I was done, and yet there was a comfort in the cold, a peace in the silence. As I slipped toward the event horizon, I thought, maybe this was finally it. Maybe I was finally free. The blackness swallowed me whole. I gasped. My lungs burned. My body seized. And suddenly, I was awake, but I wasn't in space. I wasn't in the ship. I was floating, suspended in a thick, translucent liquid, tubes snaking into my skin, wires, IVs, electrodes attached to my temples, my chest, my arms. Panic surged through me, my fingers scrambling against the glass walls of the containment tube. A laboratory. Dim, sterile lights cast a sickly glow over rows of identical tubes, each containing a still figure. A screen flickered outside my pod. A single word flashed in bold white letters. Iteration 428. I choked on a scream. Then I could feel them before I saw them. A shift in the air. A presence that made my skin crawl. Then the room hissed, and the door slid open. They entered. Tall. Wrong. Humanoid, but only in the vaguest sense. Skeletal frames wrapped in smooth, obsidian black flesh, arms too long, fingers ending in tapered claws that clicked softly as they moved. Their heads, elongated, alien, featureless except for the eyes, sickly white, sunken pits of light. Their bodies whispered as they moved, a sound like dead leaves scraping across metal. Then two more entered, clad in exosuits. They looked fierce. I felt a cold, gut-deep terror that I hadn't known since childhood. I didn't know what they were. I just knew. They weren't human. I thrashed, instinct overriding sense. I didn't care that my muscles were weak, that my body was barely functional after floating God knows how long in that tank. I fought. They didn't even react. One of them pressed something at its hip. Electricity flooded my nervous system. I seized, convulsed. The pain was absolute. Then, nothing. They caught me before I hit the floor, hoisting my useless body into the air like I weighed nothing. I gasped for breath, muscles twitching as they carried me across the room. They spoke. A low guttural language, syllables scraping like rusted metal, sounds impossible for a human mouth to make. They placed me into something cold, rigid, a chair. Restraints snapped shut around my wrists, my ankles, my throat. Then I was moving, floating, The chair hummed as it lifted off the ground, hovering effortlessly. The armed creatures flanked me, their weapons, long black instruments covered in shifting plates held across their chests. They escorted me through a corridor of smooth, chitinous walls. The ship felt alive, breathing. I felt it watching me. After a time, the corridor widened into a vast, domed chamber. At its center, a throne grown from the walls, and sitting upon it, Holloway, or something that wore his face. The aliens stopped. My chair lowered slightly, just enough so I was forced to look up at him. He smiled.
Crowe,
he said, voice rich with amusement.
Welcome to the end of everything.
I swallowed, my throat dry. You're not Holloway. His smile widened.
No, but you seem to have a connection with this face, and I thought it would comfort you.
I didn't respond. He leaned forward, fingers steepled.
Tell me, Crowe, do you know why you're here?
I exhaled slowly, trying to calm the riot in my chest. You're gonna tell me? Holloway nodded.
A galactic eradication is about to begin, and I am the overseer of it,
he said, as if he were explaining the weather. My blood ran cold.
The Nihilos,
he continued, gesturing to the creatures around us,
are the architects of these cycles. We work in the shadows of time and space, pruning civilizations that grow too large, too chaotic.
I stared at him.
This is why humanity has never encountered another race,
he said,
because we do not allow it.
My breath hitched.
We erase them,
Holloway said simply.
Reset them before they spread too far. And now humanity has reached the threshold.
No. The word barely left my lips.
Oh, yes.
Holloway grinned.
You are a stubborn race. Resilient. That's why you've been chosen.
Chosen for what? I growled.
To be our harbinger.
The word hung in the air, a weight in my chest.
You will return to humanity,
Holloway said.
You will bring word of our arrival. You will give them a chance to prepare, to fight. If they win, they will take our place. They will become the new Nihilos.
I shook my head, refused to believe it. And if we lose? I asked. Holloway's smile didn't waver.
Then humanity will fade,
he said,
just like the others before you.
As he said this, Holloway's face and form faded into the real creature. He sat, naked, if that's even the word for it. I fought it, at first. I cursed him, called him a liar, a monster. I thrashed in the chair, struggling against the restraints, even as my atrophied muscles screamed in protest. The Nihilos around us barely reacted. The overseer simply watched, his expression calm. He knew the fight would leave me. And he was right. Because I wasn't an idiot. I had seen what they could do. What they had already done. And deep down, beneath the rage and the horror, I knew there was no winning against them. I slumped back, breathing hard. The overseer leaned forward. Do you accept your role? Silence. I stared at him. His expression didn't change. He was patient, eternal. The Nihilos didn't seem to age. Time passed around them like wind through dead trees. I could rot in this chair for 100 years and they wouldn't care. I had one choice. I exhaled slowly, then I nodded. Yes? The overseer smiled, and then he pressed a button. Something hissed behind me. I craned my neck, saw a machine descending from the ceiling, long spindly arms twisting and unfolding. It stopped just above me. A light flared, and then pain. Fire beneath my skin. My body seized as muscle and sinew reknit themselves, cells multiplying at an impossible rate. I could feel myself growing. Every nerve, every fiber of my being was stretching, filling, reshaping. It should have taken months, years. It happened in minutes. The agony faded. The machine hissed again and withdrew. I gasped, every breath suddenly fuller. The restraints clicked open. I collapsed forward, catching myself on trembling hands. My fingers curled against the cold floor, stronger. Now, the overseer watched.
Stand.
I did, slowly. My legs wobbled, unfamiliar with their own strength. I was whole again. My stomach growled. I looked down at myself, naked. I exhaled through my nose and shot the overseer a glare. "I'd like some damn clothes." He laughed, genuinely, like we were old friends sharing a joke.
I suppose that's fair,
He said,
You'll be taken to receive garments and food. Consider it hospitality.
He gestured to two nihilos who approached. Before I left, I turned back. One last question. "My crew," I said. My voice was even. Not a plea, not a demand. A statement. The overseer's smile thinned. He lifted his hand. My vision flared white, and suddenly I saw the real Holloway. His body torn open, ribs splayed like insect legs. Patel, a charred husk, his last scream still carved into his skull. Murphy, his corpse drifting in the void, eyes wide, mouth frozen in silent horror. The others, the ones I had forgotten, the first crew, the second, the third. Hundreds of them, hundreds of versions of us, all dead. I stumbled back, sucking in a sharp breath. The images lingered, burned into the backs of my eyelids. The overseer lowered his hand.
They have served their purpose,
He said simply. I wanted to kill him, to lunge forward, to wrap my fingers around his throat and squeeze until there was nothing left. But I didn't, because I knew it would be the last thing I ever did. I exhaled slowly, let the rage sink beneath my skin. If I died now, after all I'd been through, humanity would fall. Well, traveller, that was an interesting ending to this chapter of The Red Wake. Perhaps I will return to the story one day. While I've got you here, take a second to like and subscribe. I've also got a Facebook page now if you're into that. It's the same name, Dreadsong the Bard. If you'd like to support me further, go to patreon.com/Dreadsong the Bard and join for free.